are literally shaping the planet.
Purpose is the only pathway to a regenerative future.
We have a choice to stay with the status quo or to change.
What is the point of trying to be just resilient when we can actually innovate?
All right, hey guys. So we're very excited to be speaking at this year's Shadow Summit. And our club is the Smart Sustainable Communities Club at Georgia Tech, SE squared for short. All right, so I am Devan Reddy. I'm the vice president and co-founder of SE squared. Like Matt said, I'm a second year mechanical engineering student. And over quarantine, I'm currently an intern for Shadow Ventures, and over quarantine, I was able to build out our academic community as part of Shadow Ventures. And through that community, I was able to connect students, academics with industry professionals, startups, and venture capital. That will come in, I'll talk about that further in a little bit, but that's basically what I want to do for SE squared. And yeah, so that's me.
Yeah, so I'm Hoang Ly. I'm currently studying civil engineering with a minor in chemistry and recently changed my master's to the Sustainable Energy and Environmental Management master's, as well as a 2020 UN Millennium Fellow. So the reason why we really want to start this club is we noticed that most of the clubs on campus revolving around sustainability are following more of a nonprofit track, and none of those clubs really have connections with industry. So we really wanted to fill the gap between the students and industry to provide a really solid pipeline for students who are really passionate about sustainable development and smart cities to really learn about the field and be directly involved. So why now? I'm sure everyone's well aware of all the events going on right now. I think this year is the first year that we're really seeing the effects of climate change, especially with the fires out west and all of the storms out in the Atlantic right now.
And then also, why now? Because over quarantine, when like whole cities and countries shut down, I remember reading a bunch of articles about people being like, they could actually hear like the animals in their cities, and like there were dolphins in Venice because it was the most calm that's ever been. And so I think society's kind of realized how much of an impact we have on our environment around us. And then also because smart city spending has grown a lot, and we figured why not go ahead and launch a club right now that revolves about sustainability in smart cities. So what are we? Like I mentioned earlier, for the Shadow Ventures academic community, I connected students with industry professionals, startups, and entrepreneurship. And so we're bringing that same approach to SE squared. And so through SE squared, we want to create a community of the Atlanta community, academia, industry, and students. And like Hong said, unlike the clubs at Tech, a lot of the clubs here operate as nonprofits, and they don't have any connection with the Atlanta community or with the industry. And so we figured in our club, we want to be able to connect everyone that basically runs Atlanta, so the entire Atlanta community. And we've also been able to leverage our connections with the school and the industry to bring it all together. And we've got our connections through Shadow Ventures. All right, so what will we do? We will do community engagement, professional development, and developing thought leadership. So through community engagement, we're going to do webinars. The webinars are kind of broad, so it's harder to network, but after our webinars, we're going to do little breakout sessions with our hosts and our members. But the goal of our webinars is to bring in speakers that are really big in sustainability and smart cities, bring them in and have all of our members listen to them. So it's a great opportunity for our students to learn more about our speakers, and then afterwards to potentially network. And then our second thing for community engagement are debates. And so by debates, we want to bring together like government officials, leaders in the Atlanta community, industry professionals, and students in academia all into one place and debate topics about sustainability and smart cities. And the reason we think this is a good idea is because it'd be a great place for students to see other perspectives and for everyone to argue their points. So you get to see more perspectives, you get to learn more, and then also through it, you'll be able to network with the people you're debating about. And we also think it would be a great way to have a flow of ideas throughout the entire community. And the last thing for community engagement are roundtables. So as part of the academic community, I did roundtables over the summer, which would be a speaker, and then we would cap it at 10 members. So the goal of it was to create an intimate setting where you have your speaker and all the members, everyone goes around and introduces themselves, and then you just discuss about a topic. So it's great because you get to know a speaker and the speaker gets to know you. And it's a great networking opportunity because you can ask personalized questions to the speaker and they can have an actual conversation with you. And so our goal is to do that with SE Squared as well, where we have cap it at like 10 and have a host, and we have all of our students in that round table talking with a host, and they get to learn more about sustainability and smart cities. For professional development, we want to do coaching for our students. So since a lot of them are students, they're just now starting off their careers in life, which is really good for us because we can use our network and our connections to help them grow. But in terms of coaching, we want to bring in people who are successful in the industry to come back and be like, hey, this is what I've done, this is how I did it, and offer some guidance to students who are just now getting into it. Along with coaching, we also want to be able to review like resumes and help them land internships and also help them network, which are the next two. So in terms of networking, we want to be able to use all of our partnerships and also our network and share that with our students. So our students can go and tap our network, start learning more, start getting involved and growing their careers from there. And then for internships and jobs, we don't want to necessarily create internships and jobs with our partners, but rather find internships that they wouldn't know had existed without us. And so Hoang actually has a perfect example of what I mean by that.
So this summer, I had a great opportunity to work on the city of Columbus, Georgia's Uptown digital twin. And even though like it was a great experience and it's a topic that I'm really passionate about now, before I had no idea that that was even a thing that I could do. And the only reason why I actually got that internship was because I was lucky enough to take a class with the professor who was the research lead for that project, and he recommended that I apply for that internship.
So that's what we want to do for them, because a lot of these students, they don't have those connections. They don't have the network that's like, hey, there's this really cool internship that you might not have heard about, but you'd be a great fit for it. So we want to provide that for our new students. And our last thing is developing thought leadership.
So after talking to KP, we realized that there's a lot of gaps in the research right now, especially in the sustainability field, just through gaps of funding for whatever reason. And so we really wanted to provide the space that students can work on topics that really that they're really passionate about, but don't necessarily have a place to actually do it. Whether or not they can't find a good fit with a certain professor, or they can't find topics that they'd really want to work with. So we're really hoping that by doing our own research, we'll be able to provide value to our community, as well as provide the opportunity for students to work on real world problems. So that so the same theme applies to pro bono consulting. We're really hoping that we can find a company who is willing to peel off a project for our students to work on, so that they get experience working on a real problem and have the chance to have impact in that. And in terms of volunteering, we want to provide the opportunity for students to give back to their communities, whether that's walking around campus and picking up trash, or maybe volunteering for Habitat for Humanity and helping them build their buildings. It's just another chance for students to provide to impact the world right now.
But you also have the thing about startups and connecting them with Habitat.
Yeah. So an example of how all of this might work together is maybe we find a startup working in the construction IoT space who has a new product and needs a test bed to test it out. So maybe we could help them partner with Habitat for Humanity and use their sites as a test bed while using the students in our club to actually make the work happen. So we're really trying to foster those types of relationships through our community. So this next slide, I really wanted to highlight how close Georgia Tech is to Emory, with Tech being the leader in technology and Emory being the leader in the pure sciences. We really see a big opportunity for the two to work with each other and fill each other's weaknesses. Also, I really noticed that a lot of Georgia Tech students don't interact with Emory students and vice versa. So we're really hoping that this club will be a space where the two student bodies can really interact with each other and develop relationships. So our advisor at Emory is Iris Sakawa. She is the director of graduate studies there. She also runs the Emory Climate Talks, which is a webinar where they invite people to come talk about climate issues, as well as Air Emory, which is a student-led air quality sensor array on campus. So when I reached out to Iris, she was really excited to help us and really excited for the potential that this club can really have, not only impacting the world, but also, fostering a closer relationship between the two schools. So she is the person who will enable us to really engage Emory. So our Georgia Tech advisors are John Taylor and Deborah Lamb. John Taylor runs the Network Dynamics Lab, which is where most of the research in smart cities and sustainable communities really happens in the School of Civil and Environmental Engineering. So he'll be really good in helping us guide our programming and make sure that we're on the right track for the type of impact we really want to have with this club. With Deborah Lamb, she's the managing director of the Smart Cities Inclusion Initiative at Georgia Tech. SCI2 has led a lot of great projects in the state of Georgia with the city of Macon, city of Columbus, Georgia, and the city of Sandy Springs. So she'll be a great help in engaging communities and really guide our programming.
All right, and so our leading partner is Shadow Ventures. Again, thank you, Shadow Ventures. But what we mean by this is Shadow Ventures is really well connected with the industry. They're very well connected. They've given us partnerships, and them being a venture capital firm in the built space has been really helpful for us because we can tap that network and it's really beneficial to us. Another thing is the guidance that Shadow Ventures brings to us. Like Hoang said, we talk to Shadow all the time. They give us good advice on where we should take the club and what we should do. And they also help us grow our club. And then the last thing is networking. Through Shadow, a lot of their startups are actually solving some of the issues that are related to sustainability and smart cities. And it's really beneficial to us because we can have conversations with those startups and also network with them and bring them onto our club as hosts. And so, yeah, Shadow is very much our leading partner. And then our community connection is the Center for Civic Innovation. There's a little blurb about what Center for Civic Innovation is. But the reason that they're our community connection, they're really beneficial to us is because they are really in line with our ideas. They want to push the exchanging of ideas throughout the Atlanta community, which includes Atlanta community like government officials, industry, entrepreneurship. They basically connect everything, but in the broader Atlanta space. And we want to do that, except in sustainability and smart cities. So it's a perfect partnership for us. They start from the ground up. Right now we're at the ground. So if we ever run into issues, we can always reach out to them and get some guidance on what they did when they were at our stage. And so it's really, they're really good for support and guidance for us. These are some of our partnerships, just so you all can see.
Yeah, so these partnerships are really important for us because they really allow us to get qualified speakers in, as well as provide, just advisement, extra advisement that we might need.
So that's pretty much all we have. We're in the ideation stage essentially. And thank you so much to Shadow Ventures for making this possible and letting us speak. Thank you for everyone for your time and listening to us. And Hoang.
Yeah, so, I mean, thank you for Shadow Ventures for bringing us all together. Like, none of us would be here without them. So we would love to open up for questions and discussion. We're really open to any type of feedback since we're at the very early stages of really developing this club. Any type of criticism will really help us become the best club that we can be.
So I know there's a raise your hand feature. So if y'all have any, if y'all want to ask any questions, raise your hand and we can unmute you. Or there's a Q&A, so you can also do that too.
I have no idea how to unmute people.
Emily, do you know how to unmute people?
I'll help you out. Ethan?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
How you guys doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Good to see you guys. Enjoy the presentation. I was just wondering, throughout the creation of this club, have you guys done any research to see if there's any similar clubs across the United States at colleges, and what do you think you can do to outperform them or make your guys' own organization stand out a bit more?
We haven't really noticed any like student clubs that are doing what we're doing. There is a nonprofit. I think it's like the Institute for Smart Cities or something like that. But they operate as a nonprofit. So I really think we are filling a really important gap with where we are right now, especially with our push for inclusivity. I know there's not many clubs and organizations that are very interdisciplinary or really try to attract a very broad range of people. Most of the clubs are very focused in one thing. So I think our inclusivity and our broadness is one of our competitive advantages.
And on top of what Hoang said, a lot of the ones that currently exist at colleges, they aren't so much involved with the actual industry itself. It's more students meeting and talking, and they kind of just talk and learn as a group, but they don't really have that much involvement from people that are actually in the industry or the community around them. It's more of just a college club where people just meet and talk, and that's about it.
Gotcha. One more quick question. Once you guys graduate, do you plan on doing anything to expand this into maybe something you guys would do for a living or something like that? Or would you kind of hand down the reins to someone else, you think?
So we're really hoping that we'll be able to hand down the reins to someone else. Just for the sustainability of the club, we really hope this is going to be a thing that will survive past our lives. But our next opportunity is to really start a chapter at Emory University, since I feel like that would be the most natural growth for us. But in terms of making this a career, I don't really see that happening, since I think me and Devin both have different aspirations for our careers.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I agree with Hong. I'm a second year. He's a little older than me. So right now, our plan is to grow it as much as we can right now. After Hoang leaves, I'll run it up to until I leave, and hopefully by then we'll have a good leader who can take over the club and start growing it from there.
Gotcha. Well, thank you guys for answers, and good luck with the club.
Yeah,
Thanks, Ethan.
thank you so much.
All right. Do you have any other questions or feedback?
Yeah, so do you guys see any areas we could really like work on? Any like weaknesses we have in our plan? We really need a second perspective on things, just so we can understand what other people are thinking about.
Okay, hey guys, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I figured I'd just ask you about your marketing strategy. What do you guys kind of have in the pipeline when it comes to, like, I know social media is an obvious ask, but besides that, how do you foresee yourselves getting the most outreach needed to grow the club?
So internally at Tech, one of the channels that we're gonna work on is through the Smart Cities Inclusive Innovation Initiative. It's basically all the professors on campus throughout all the schools that work in smart sustainable city research. So we're gonna start by sending out email correspondence to all the professors in that group, and get them to spread that to the students. So that's how we're gonna start marketing. After that, we're really gonna start like grassroots, probably flyers, reaching out on Reddit, reaching out on Facebook, and reaching out through the clubs who are working on sustainability issues right now. There's also there's a Smart Cities minor and a sustainable communities certificate. So we're hoping to piggyback on those programs and attract students who are interested in getting those minors, and seeing if they'll be interested in being involved with our club too.
And as we start hosting events like actual roundtables and webinars, we expect to see like more growth from there, just because we'll have some speakers and people are like, yo, did you see that person speak? And they're like, no, I'm not in the club. And just kind of word of mouth. And we also have a LinkedIn page that we're starting to be more active on that and pushing content to students.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that answers my question. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Does anyone have any final questions? All right. I don't think anyone has any more questions. So again, thank you, Shadow, for letting us present and giving us this opportunity. We really appreciate it. And
yeah, we'll wrap up there and send it back to Matt